Hello and welcome to the Realtor Spotlight. I'm Brandon Fry with Guaranteed Rate, and today I have the pleasure of sitting down with Jason Lallis. Hello, Jason. Welcome.
Mr. Fry, how are you, sir?
I'm good. I'm good. Long time no see. It's good to see you on here.
Good to see you. Even though over Zoom, I'd love to rather be out doing a round of golf or something like that. But
Well,
Zoom works.
you just tell me when the weather's right. We'll do it.
All right, all right.
So Jason and I go way back to our days in Blacksburg at Virginia Tech. We are former teammates on opposite sides of the line. Jason played defensive line. I was offensive lineman. We've had the pleasure of working together, him on the realtor side and me as a lender. So just want to have you on today and learn a little bit more about you and your business, Jason.
For sure, for sure.
So I know you didn't jump right into real estate, but I think you may have a cool story to hear. How did you come into being a real estate agent?
Right, right. So I pretty much did every job on the planet before getting into real estate. When I finished up in Blacksburg, I started working in pharmaceutical sales. Spent a few years doing that. Started getting bored with the sales, and then started going to law school at night at the University of Baltimore.
Oh, wow.
So attended University of Baltimore for about 4 years, graduated, passed the Maryland bar, and then jumped into politics. This was right around 2008, 2009. So I was kind of inspired by the Barack Obama movement.
Okay.
Worked on the Hill, worked off the Hill in lobbying, and then woke up one day about 4 or 5 years later and just did not like what I was doing. Hated my job, wanted to start with something new. And then started looking elsewhere. From there, I actually met my mentor. He's a broker named Joe Hemley. He's actually with Arla Real Estate now.
Yep.
And Joe brought me into the first meeting, was very direct, very straightforward, and got me pumped and motivated to learn real estate. So spent the first 6 years with him. And then he actually his firm got bought out by another firm, and then that's when I went to Arla Real Estate. So a little bit of a crazy path, but that was 6 years ago, and here we are now.
That's awesome. I remember when that happened. Did you go to Arla first and he came after, or did that? Because he's there now, right?
He's there now. I went to Arla first, and Joe, I think at the time, was acquired by Best Agent was acquired by Sotheby's.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, cool, very awesome. And now that you are a real estate agent, do you love it? Like, what's your favorite thing about being a realtor?
Yeah, great question. Love it. It's actually the one job that I finally had that I'm sticking with, that I know I'm enjoying. I think what I realized as I look back is that I enjoy the freedom. I enjoy the entrepreneurial side of real estate. I really enjoy the ability to go out and work as hard as I want and kind of have no limitations, no caps. No one can kind of, cut me off from moving up. So just being out there and having, it brings the competitive spirit to you. So that environment, I feel like I thrive in it.
Absolutely, yeah. It's they always say that athletes make good salespeople. We have that discipline in our background. But it is totally different when you come into this world where nobody's telling you what to do. Because in football, it's like you have to be here at this time and you got to be there and don't be late. And your schedule's kind of controlled. And now it's kind of like do what you want. But you have that self-discipline and that self-motivation and that competitiveness in you to keep you going. So that's awesome.
I think the other part as well, and this goes back to our days at Tech, and it's not always about what you're doing when everyone's watching. It's what you're doing when no one's watching.
Absolutely.
And that really is the spirit of real estate. You can sit up there and talk a good game and act like you're really working hard, but at the end of the day, unless you're putting the hours in, the time in, you won't be successful.
Yeah, you won't get those results by just posting pictures on Instagram pretending like you're doing the work. So yeah, that's very true.
Exactly.
What do you think that you bring to the table or about yourself that makes you different than other real estate agents?
Yeah, good question. I would say, real estate is an extremely diverse profession. If you ask most agents what their backgrounds are, you'll hear all types of things from, police officers to teachers to, sales folks, CPAs, accountants. I think for me, having the legal background I am a licensed attorney in the state of Maryland. Doing real estate, I can't give any type of legal advice or try to play like I'm an attorney. But I do think having that knowledge and that background, especially the familiarity with contracts, things along those lines, feel like that does differentiate myself from most other agents.
To have to know it in and out and be able to have a better understanding of that. That's awesome. That's good. Sure. And your clients, I'm sure, appreciate that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, we always have to be careful not to give legal advice, but, you know, having an understanding of how contracts are written.
How to interpret certain things. Yeah. Yeah. I'm sure you get plenty of attorneys that try to write their own contract and cross through things. Oh, well, no, we're not going to do this. We're not going to do that. I'm like, well, this is kind of, you know.
Now, again, if it gets too crazy, we're calling the lawyers.
That's funny.
So
what would you say is your entrance song or your theme song if you had to pick one song for you?
Nice. Since we are Hokies, since this is Hokie Nation on this call, definitely Enter the Sandman or Enter Sandman Metallica. That is our entrance song coming out every game.
Next time we have a closing, I'm going to play that before you walk into the room.
I've got goosebumps right now. Right now.
Stone, play the song, and we'll walk in for the close.
Oh my goodness! I just hit it.
That's awesome, man. Do you work with a lot of first-time home buyers?
Work with quite a few first-time home buyers. Actually, some of the things I do, especially, is I host a lot of first-time home buyer programs and webinars for the various, you know, DC Open Doors, Maryland Mortgage Program, things along those lines. First-time home buyers, I have a passion working with primarily because first-time home buyers, I know how stressful that experience can be because I remember my first experience. Experience, I didn't have the best lender. I didn't have the most experienced agent. I didn't even have someone who was working full time, and I didn't really feel like I was being guided or led in a direction that was calming my nerves.
Yeah.
So my goal is always with a first-time home buyer is to make sure that they have an experience that they'll enjoy, that they'll be extremely knowledgeable throughout the process, and that they know exactly what they're getting into before they get into it.
That's awesome. What if there's one piece of advice you could give those first-time home buyers, what would that be?
First thing I would say is obviously work with a great agent, but just as important is make sure you're working with a really good lender. What I have found is that the lender that you choose can make all the difference from your transaction, your experience buying your first home being something that's relatively enjoyable, something that's manageable, not overwhelming, versus if you have a lender, if you have folks around you that don't know what they're doing, that aren't organized, it can make that transaction, all of that translates over to you as a first-time home buyer, and it can become chaotic. And so having a good lender, someone who's responsive, someone who has processes, systems in place, someone who knows the ins and outs, who's able to tell you, okay, here are your options. This is why this may work. This is why that may work. And then let you kind of make the best decisions from there. That really is the key difference oftentimes. And it can make the difference between whether in a competitive market, if you have a good lender with a good reputation, it can be the difference between you getting the house and not getting the house.
Yeah, absolutely. Obviously, I agree with that 100%. How for you as an agent, this is something that I always wonder. Like, what do you think helps a first-time home buyer know if they have a good realtor? What's important in that piece?
Good question. I would say most importantly, you have to have a really good working professional relationship with your agent. It has to be engaging and it has to be continuous. For example, if it's Thursday, house just hit the market that morning, you get the email from your agent, you want to see it that afternoon, you should be able to contact your agent, get it scheduled, and find a way to get there that afternoon. Here's another thing that comes to mind. When you're buying a house and you're going through the process, nothing else is more important, right? And so what happens is you may find yourself in a situation where you're not sure what's going on. You're nervous about, something that may not be as big of an issue, and it's 10 o'clock at night. It's important to be able to know that you can contact your agent, or at least have some type of communication with them that can ease you and settle you down and make you feel comfortable.
That emotional roller coaster.
Exactly. And I would say most importantly, or just as important, is just having someone who has your best interest in mind, and has a lot of familiarity with the areas and the locations that you're looking to purchase at.
And that's something that I feel a lot of times that can be felt. Like you can kind of, people can tell if somebody you're working with has your best interest in mind, just by the way they respond to certain questions that you ask or certain situations. So yeah, I agree with you 100%.
Absolutely. And I think it's one of those deals where you definitely, you want good advice. You want good guidance. You don't want someone that's trying to push you into something that you don't want to be doing, and it's not in your best interest, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah, and that's what you said that when you were talking about lenders. You said present options to you, and that's what I'm always big on and tell my clients. I'm going to give you options, but at the end of the day, it's going to be your mortgage. You're going to make the payments, not me. So I want you to be happy with whatever we choose here. But it's my job to make sure you know what's available. So agree. Sure. That's awesome. For you've obviously been in the game for a while. For these newer agents out here, is there anything that you would give them advice on, or kind of encourage them to do to help them be more successful as they get started?
For sure. As a new agent, one, you want to learn your craft. You want to become experienced. You want to spend the time, because the time that you spend learning your craft will translate into better interactions with clients and more clients. The other thing, it's really tough to get your business started as a new agent. And so with that being the case, if we're talking sports here, football is a great example. I'm on the D line going against, Brandon Fry, who's a touch bigger, a touch taller than me. So I end up on the ground. I get knocked down, but I'm still going to get back up and I'll go again. He'll knock me down again. That's okay. Every time you get a rejection, just take that as information, as knowledge that you can walk away with for how you can improve, not get upset or blame the situation on anyone. It's just a way to become a better agent. So perseverance, learning your craft, I think, and of course, always trying to grow your business. Always trying to grow your business and get your sphere, get your marketing, get your sphere of influence, whatever it takes to continue to grow.
Be consistent with those practices that you do, whatever that is. You can't drop off. Just because you're busy, you can't let those drop off. I agree with you.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. If you you often will see a roller coaster with agents where up and down and up and down. It's because you feel like you're so busy, you forget about
stop doing those important practices, activities. Yeah.
Exactly.
I can't help but laugh when you said eventually you'll get a tackle. I'm like, or you'll get a fumble recovery for a touchdown, or an interception for a touchdown. I have those memories of you in those first games of the season, always finding a way to get the ball in your hands and score a touchdown.
Hey, you gotta keep going. Gotta keep going.
Now, didn't you like punt the ball into the stands after one of your touchdowns?
It's crazy how stories.
Or throw it. What did you do? Do you remember this?
Right.
I have a memory. I don't know if it's accurate.
Next year it'll be I ran up in the stands and
What did you do? Be honest with me. Do you remember?
So I definitely remember. So I scored a touchdown. I think I picked up a strip. I got a fumble recovery, scored the touchdown. And in my mind at the time, I really felt like I had gotten in the end zone and just kind of tossed the ball, but I think the adrenaline was rolling. And that ball went right up into the stands, into the student section, and the yellow flag came out, and then Coach Beamer's eyes locked with my eyes, and then I went over and he said, "What are you thinking?" And I told him, I said, "Coach, you did the same thing when you were playing."
That's a true story. That's a true story. But I remember you being interviewed about it afterwards, and somebody said, "Hey, Jason, why'd you throw the ball in the stands?" And you were like, "What are you talking about? I handed the ball to the referee and walked back to the sideline, like
Oh,
nothing
come on.
ever happened." Meanwhile, they're cutting to a clip of you, and you're just like throwing the ball up in the stands.
Like, again, the adrenaline, it felt different from the video. It's hard to believe. Hard to believe.
Yep. Well, that's awesome, man. Good stuff. What do you do these days for fun outside of real estate?
Right. So I'm married, 2 kids, a 3-year-old and a 5-year-old, boy and girl. My wife, JC. So it's all really about family time. I got my parents, the kids' grandparents. They're still local here in Bowie,
That's
Maryland.
awesome.
So spend a lot of time with the family. It's really about trying to spend as much time with clients, trying to run and manage my business in a most productive way, so that I can also spend as much time with the family and the kids.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. I can relate. My girl's 2 and 4, and every minute with them is precious. So that's what you work so hard for. Is that time with them. So absolutely.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate you coming on today. Where can we find you? Where can anybody that's watching this find you? Instagram, website, whatever it is. Where do you want people to come see you?
For sure. You can just Google Jason Lallis Real Estate. That'll show up on a Google business page. My website, jasonlallis.com. I'm also on Facebook at Jason Lallis Real Estate. You can also check me out on Instagram at Jason Lallis. So you can pretty much find me anywhere. I'm always available. Love chatting with folks who want to talk real estate. So please hit me up.
Awesome. You guys check out Jason. Jason, thanks again for coming and joining us today, and look forward to working with you again soon.
Thank you.